Welcome to 31 Days of October 2017, the final week. What's up, guys? It has been such a challenging month of October, but I said to you in the beginning, even though I'm going through moving hell, we're gonna do this. And we did it. This is the final week. And first off, before we get into this, I just want to take the time to thank all the guests that helped me out this month, that stepped up to the challenge, and I could not have done this without you guys. So I really appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Got some great guests this week. I have 4 guests. I have CP from Will I Like It Reviews, my partner in crime on Horror Needs a Hero, Scream Stream. I also have a new guest, Emily from Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. One of the most unique channels, horror channels I've seen on YouTube. And she has these funny alter egos. So looking forward to having her on. Then I got my good buddy, Brian Lomax. We just did a Scream stream for Halloween, and that thing really just took off. It's been great. And a big part of that is because of Brian Lomax. He's so well spoken. He is my British buddy, and I'm so happy to have him here for a 3rd year in a row. And then finally, some really good friends of mine. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I actually have Mike and Jay from We Watched a Movie on 31 Days of October. I can hardly find the words. This is so cool. Okay, guys, we're gonna have my first guest, but you know what? It's all a joke, okay? CP, he's such an ass, and at this moment right now, I decided, no, I'm gonna have a new guest, because CP, you're not worthy, buddy. Okay, we've had our problems in the past. That's it. It's over. You cut off. It's like the Chappelle show, working at Whack Arnold's. You got to go through me.
Did you really think you were going to get to go a year without seeing my face in one of these damn things? Anyway, whether or not Lee likes it, I'm happy to be here and taking part in the final week of 31 Days of Halloween. October. Halloween. Whatever the shit this thing's called, Lee. Lee and I are usually on the same page with things, but there's this film that came out a while back that we just don't agree on, and I'm dying to understand why. Oh, that's why. Lee, you have a little bit of drum cum on your chin there. Anyway, on to what I watched in October. I traveled back to America from Denmark, and on the flight back, I used somebody's digital copy of Cult of Chucky. Well, it's not Seed of Chucky, but again, Lee and I not on the same page. Lee will tell you it's great, and I'm sure there's no coincidence whatsoever with why he said that. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna side with the flavor of the month, Cody, and say that, you know, they can do better. But again, it's not Seed, so there's that. I also finally took in It, which I just was so reluctant to watch because of all of the hype. And I guess I could say that I'm here to eat crow because it was just absolutely incredible and deserves a lot of that hype. I'm not gonna say the F word though, because you all abused it. You all abused it. See, I feel so naked. Last year I had a Freddy sweater on, and this year I just don't know where it is. Odd. In the middle of the month I had a visitor, a fellow YouTuber, and we took in Happy Death Day, which I actually did a review for. We did a review for, which you can check out on my channel. Nothing spectacular, nothing new, extraordinary, but an all right time. And then, of course, as I record this, I just saw Jigsaw, which was quite okay. Better than part 7, which is, I guess, an improvement. It's funny, Chucky took a step back and Saw, I don't know, took a step forward. I don't know. There's a lot of backwards Friday the 13th math that needs to happen for me to even make sense. If Jigsaw makes sense, because But again, it's a horror franchise on its 8th film. At this stage, you really have to start retconning and graying out some storylines if you want to keep certain actors involved. That's why you don't kill the bad guy. You never kill the bad guy. But yeah, other than that, on Halloween, which I'm sending this to Lee the weekend prior, I am going to be watching Halloween because it's Halloween. On Friday the 13th, I watched oh wait, I forgot. We had a Friday the 13th this month. How silly. I was so entangled with my sweater and Happy Death Day that I forgot that I watched Friday the 13th Part 3 on Friday the 13th. Part 2017. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Nothing funny for me to say this time. Lee almost kicked me out of this damn thing this year. I don't know why. I guess he likes hanging out with people that gain subscribers, not lose them. So, from a car, have a day, Drumdum out. If you're a director of a low-budget horror movie and you want good scores, make sure to hit up Drumdums, because ice cream truck, better than Get Out, better than Baby Driver. What are you?
Next up, we got a new guest, Emily from Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. You might have seen her around. She's been on a few of CP's collabs, but she's also been on a few Scream streams with me. She's really knowledgeable about horror, but she's young. She's one of the newer crop of horror fans. So CP's been trying to, I guess, get her up to speed with a lot of the horror classics, which has been really fun to watch. But anyway, Emily, tell them what you watched.
Hello Lee, thank you for having me first of all. I'm very happy to be involved. Now lately, in rather atypical fashion, I've been watching a lot of horror movies that came out this year. Shocking, I know. The one everyone's talking about is, of course, It Chapter 1, and I tried to avoid the hype as much as possible before I saw it, but I was nonetheless interested because I was so endeared to the original Pennywise. You know the one. But while Tim Curry's performance was the strongest aspect of the 1990 miniseries... Wait, that came out in 1990? Really? I thought... Sorry, bit bewildered. Whereas Tim's performance was the strongest aspect of that version, Bill Skarsgård is perhaps the weakest aspect of the 2017 movie. It's not his fault or anything, he was trying his best, but still, I don't know. When he's funny, it seems to be unintentionally so, which is why this dance of his got memed to death this year.
You used to call me on my cell phone, late night when you need my love.
And when he's trying to be scary, it's a bit full-on with millions of CG fangs, which just got a bit, I don't know. I feel like the more we see of Pennywise, the less scary he becomes. But I did appreciate some of his other forms that he took, particularly the painting dude. He was actually pretty creepy. Now, the movie has a lot going for it. Great score, looks terrific, and the child actors are really brilliant. And, you know, they have a good script to work with. It's good dialogue. It sounds like it could come out of children from that time period who actually exist.
It's grey water. What the hell's grey water? It's basically piss and shit, so I'm just telling you. You guys are splashed around in millions of gallons of dairy pee.
Hopefully the adult actors in Chapter 2 can live up to the high standards set by these talented young men and women. I've also seen another horror movie just in the last fortnight, in theatres. I was in the New York area, seeing a certain someone. Happy Death Day was marketed as a horror version of Groundhog Day if you imagine Bill Murray as a bitchy blonde sorority sister. The protagonist of this one has a similar redemption arc, as in her own time loop, someone she knows is murdering her on her birthday, which is also the birthday of her dead mother. Tree, as she's known, has to learn to grow as a person. She has to take leave of her bitchy ways and redress her roots in order to end the vicious cycle. Bit of a stretch, that last one. And also, you know, find out who this baby-faced killer actually is. This is not a great movie in my opinion, and I'm rather sad it's doing better than Blade Runner at the box office currently, but I don't hate it. It's fine. If it was on the TV in the living room and I was vegging out anyway, I'd probably continue to watch it. The time loop concept in and of itself is quite engaging, and if you don't like the protagonist, then you can get to watch her get killed again and 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 again. Not that we like seeing women get tortured to death, it's, character building. And the last thing I have to talk about is not a movie per se. I've just discovered an Adult Swim short film called This House Has People in It. It's available to view on YouTube and it clocks in at around 12 minutes. What we're looking at is a multi-camera residence in which a family lives. Perhaps some kind of Big Brother setup. The little boy is having a birthday party, the grandmother is watching some sketchy sculptor on TV.
And this is a special kind of clay. This is gray, 12-gauge granular.
And why is there a person on the floor? That's a bit odd, didn't it?
Wet, like the inside of a body, a warm body. And the first time you do this, you're going to have a hard time, but I'm not having a hard time at all because I've done this many times.
Yes, like a lot of Adult Swim content that airs at stupid o'clock in the morning, this is pretty dark and creepy. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody, but it's not clear whether the family is aware of the camera setup, or if they're unwilling participants of some evil human experimentation.
Jackson, this is not a good time to have a birthday party. Okay, I'm sorry. I really wanted you to have a good birthday.
But unnatural things happen, there's a great sense of foreboding, and there's also an accompanying website which has, if you know where to look, an additional 2 hours of content to explore. The short works quite well as it is, but there's a lot to be found below the surface, even if it's just a case of pausing the video in the right places. Well, I think that about covers it. Cheers again, Lee. I hope this was all okay for your week 5 thing. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Emily. Looking forward to checking out some of those. Next up, we got my good buddy, Brian the Lomax. I call him the Lomax. Brian Lomax. Been a great friend of mine since the beginning of my YouTube journey. And I've said so much about the guy. I look up to Brian Lomax because when I first started, I had a tough time speaking in front of the camera. And Brian really kind of inspired me to try harder. So I always look up to Brian for that. So anyway, Brian, tell him what you watched.
Hello there and welcome to Drumdums. I'm so used to saying welcome to Brian Lomax Movie Talk. Something just feels wrong about that. But also very right. I'm very happy to be on Lee's channel. A good friend of mine. Thank you, Lee, for having me on for your final week of 31 days of October. I'm going to just fill you in on what I've been watching, and because I kind of like doing ranking videos, I'm going to do them in the order in which I would rank them as opposed to the order in which I viewed them. So yeah, we're going to start at the bottom of the barrel and work our way up to what I think is the best film that I've watched in October with regards to horror movies, not counting The Shining, which I have just reviewed on my channel, but it ain't going to be in this list. So yeah, convoluted, but there you go. Let's start with the bottom of the barrel, which is Children of the Corn. I'd never seen this film before. It's a Stephen King adaptation. I actually bought it really cheap from a charity shop on DVD when It came out. You know, I was going to watch a few Stephen King movies in the run up to It, and for whatever reason I never got around to actually watching this, even though I bought it on DVD. I watched it a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, and man, is this abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. There are definitely much better Stephen King adaptations out there. This isn't the go-to film if you're looking for a good Stephen King horror adaptation. They waste some pretty good concepts and a pretty good actress in Linda Hamilton as well. When you look at what James Cameron got out of her as an actress across those 2 Terminator films, the range, you know, from going from this kind of shrinking violet to like a kick-ass, do not want to mess with her bodybuilder, because she got ripped in Terminator 2. Yeah, you know, you see what she did as an actress. She's capable of so much more than what they give her here. Here, yeah, she don't get a right lot to do, it must be said. Her character is a bit weak, a bit feeble. Not a good film. And it revolves around this kind of cult, these children who kind of killed all the adults in their town, and then any new adults that come through the town, they kill them as well. It's a cool concept, like I say, but it's just not handled very well. And the kid both the kids actually, who play the cult leaders, you've got one called Isaac, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but both of those were so annoying. One was just a really bad actor. He was the one I couldn't remember the name of. His performance was just terrible, like off the charts terrible. And then the guy who plays Isaac, who was the main cult leader, he was a good actor. Like I thought he gave a good performance, but he had the most annoying squeaky voice in the world. Like, it just grated. He was like, nails on a chalkboard. So it's not a good film. It really isn't. And the lead actor in this, who I forget the name of, Peter something, I think. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. He reminds me of Christian Bale. Could be because he also reminds me of Peter Weber. If you ever seen a TV show called Studio 60, I think Peter Weber, I think that's his name. Peter Weber is in that, and this guy in Children of the Corn, he's like a cross between Christian Bale and Peter Weber. That distracted me all the way through. Not a good film. I'd give it a 1.5. I think that's being generous. Next up is the first Urban Legend film. I recently saw Urban Legend 2 Final Cut. First time I'd seen that film. Man, it was terrible. Much worse than this. This isn't a great film. It must be said. It doesn't hold up as well as I remember it. Like, during the 90s, I really got into the slasher genre thanks to Scream. Scream was the first film I actually went to the cinema to see more than once. I saw it 3 times at the cinema. It was also the first 18 I'd seen at the cinema, so I think that was kind of a bit of a buzz for me. The fact that I could go and see that 3 times, even though I was 16. I loved Scream, and because of that, because of those Scream movies, I kind of really got into the slasher genre. And I think at the time, Urban Legend certainly felt like one of the better films to come out of that kind of renaissance that Scream created of the slasher genre. I still think that I Know What You Did Last Summer is up there as well. When you're looking at those post-Scream movies, I like the twist, with regards to who the killer is. It feels very post-modern in an annoying way. Like, I look back on a lot of these films now from the early noughties, late 90s, early noughties, and that kind of post-modern stuff that at the time felt so fresh and reinvigorating for the genre, and just really pulled me in. Now it kind of feels a bit stale. I enjoy this movie. Don't get me wrong, I think it's pretty good fun from start to finish. Anything with Brad Dourif in, to be honest, is going to pique my interest. I do like him as an actor. He's been in some terrible films. Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, We're Looking at You. But I do like him. Unfortunately, Brad Dourif isn't in it all the way through. Fortunately, Michael Rosenbaum is. I really love Michael Rosenbaum. What can I say? I'm a Smallville fan, but I just think the guy is hilarious as well. If you've ever seen any of his kind of shtick in real life, just him being him, I just think the guy is hilarious. So, I like the film, but I can't necessarily call it a good film. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. Next up, we move to the Omen remake from 2006. This is directed by John Moore, who, kind of murdered the Die Hard franchise, but I think he does a decent job with it. Admittedly, it doesn't do anything new. It tries a little bit. It puts these dream sequences in that weren't in the original, and they add nothing other than a few jump scares. You take those dream sequences out, it is literally scene for scene the exact same film. Even though I would rate the original higher than this, I think I would find myself putting this on over the original. I think that it's filmed better, it's shot better, and that's not because it's by a better director, and it's not because it's by a better cinematographer. I'm simply pointing out that when this film was made, they had a lot more modern technology and filmmaking techniques at their disposal than Richard Donner did when he made his original. Modern technology allows them to shoot things in a way that they couldn't back then. And as a result of that, I find this film slightly more enjoyable watch. You know, the action sequences have a bit more bite to them, they feel a bit more effective, a bit more authentic. And because of that, yeah, I would slip this one in over the original. Like I say, still think the original's a better film. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, it's another remake. It's the 2010 version of The Crazies, and I've not seen the original, which I'm quite happy about, because sometimes I do like to go into a remake having not seen the original, because you can go to it with completely fresh eyes. The government kind of accidentally loses this plane that was carrying this virus that gets into the water supply of this town and turns people crazy, and they just go nuts and start killing their family members, and yeah, so it makes for some rather tense, creepy moments. And we get this main character who's the sheriff of the town that I really like, and he's just trying to keep his wife alive, keep his friend alive who he works with. There's a few moments of repetition in it where certain things are shot in the same way twice, 3 times, and you'd like, you've done that already, you know, so why are you doing it again? Like, for example, there's a moment when Radha Mitchell's character, she goes into this room where this cot is, and then as the camera pans over to the right, you see one of these crazies just kind of blurred out in the background, like kind of out of focus. And then later they do the exact same thing with the exact same character, Radha Mitchell, again in this kitchen, only this time the camera just pans ever so slightly left, and then there's another crazy just to be out. It's like, yeah, by that point you kind of feel like you may be running out of ideas visually. Like I say, it's a really good film though. That kind of stuff, it doesn't ruin it for me, you know, because the strength of everything else is enough to keep it firing on all cylinders. I give this a 4 out of 5, highly recommend it. Next up is a Japanese film called Confessions. Didn't know what to expect with this. I picked it up again very cheaply from a charity shop, 50p. I just thought, you know, the concept on the back sounded quite interesting. This is essentially Lord of the Flies meets Oldboy. It's a revenge tale. It's about this teacher who loses her own child due to bullying. Because of the legal system, she is fully aware that these kids, if brought to the court systems, would get off. At the start of this film, she just opens up to the class. She starts telling them this story, and you know the kids are all running riot. You can tell it's a really unruly classroom, and she just starts telling this story and real personal information. And you're kind of thinking at first, this is so unrealistic. Why would this teacher tell this information to a classroom, especially this bunch of idiots? But then when you realise where she's going, she gets to the point where she's telling them about these 2 kids who are essentially responsible for the death of hers, and then she names them, she shames them, and she steps back. But essentially she leaves it to the classroom, you know? Just the fact that the rest of her class now know that these people are responsible for the death of her kid, and in such a brutal way, that yeah, it's like open season on him. And it's just where the film goes with that is really interesting. Like, I've not spoilt really a right lot there, because that all kind of happens within the first 20 minutes of the film. Everything that comes after, like I said, I've not touched upon. But it's a really, really cracking film. Some brutal moments in it, but just seeing where they go, and just like as a commentary on modern society, you know, the way our legal system operates, and the way that our discipline, or the lack thereof, in schools operates. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Check it out. I give it a 4 out of 5, and that's a high 4 out of 5. And so I get to my final film on this list, The Hitcher. This film's written by Eric Red, a pretty decent writer in my mind. He went on to do Near Dark, and a film called Blue Steel. Both really great films, both Catherine Bigelow movies as well, actually. But this is fantastic. It's a very simple concept. A young man who's transporting this vehicle from one side of the country to another. He picks up a hitchhiker to stop himself from falling asleep. Only this guy turns out to be a nut job, And you know, he manages to get him out of the car and get off, but after that this guy basically follows him all over the place and just gets him into all kinds of trouble, makes it look like he's the one who's doing all this damage to people, killing people. There are a few clues, a few little bits, the way that Rutger Hauer says lines of dialogue, certain things he says in the film that do give us the impression that this is a guy who just wants to die. He wants someone to stop him. He wants someone to kill him, to just put him out of whatever misery has brought him to this place. That's all we get though. We don't know what that is. We don't know why he's in that mindset, but it is there. It's not an overabundance of information that's thrown at you. They don't beat you over the head with tons of exposition. They just give you subtle bits of character moments throughout the film that keep you invested and keep you intrigued. And this is, along with Blade Runner, along with the performance he gave as Roy Batty in Blade Runner, this is my favourite Rutger Hauer performance. It's brilliant. He really does make a good psychopath. If you haven't seen this film, I strongly urge you to check it out. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Again, this is another one I'm torn on. I kind of want to give it 5, and I don't know why I'm not. To be honest, I'm a really picky bugger when it comes to giving scores out, especially 5s. But I'm going to give it a 4.5 for now. But yeah, there you go. That is what I've been watching this October. Thank you, Lee, for having me on your channel. It's always a pleasure, mate. And yeah, please comment below if you've seen any of the films I've mentioned and let me know what you thought about it.
All right, guys, here we go. This is the final act. I can't believe I got these guys. This is we watched the movie, but when they get done, I'm going to tell you what I watched. So don't just leave after we watch the movie, although I wouldn't blame you. But anyway, just real quick about them. When I first started, before I started doing YouTube, I watched a few of the YouTubers like Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, FlickPick. But really, the main inspiration for me was Mike and Jay from We Watched the Movie. I am not lying. They were the guys that made me feel like, you know what? They're more like me, but they're also funny as hell. And they're still to this day the funniest YouTube reviewers I've ever seen. If you're not subscribed to them, which you probably are, definitely head on over. They are completely unfiltered, which is what I love about them. They do not hold back. You can tell they love what they're doing. They're having a blast. And I can't say enough about Mike and Jay. You guys inspired me from the beginning. So it is an honor to have you guys on the final episode of this. So anyway, guys, tell them what you watched.
Oh, hey guys, we're We Watched the Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay. The first thing I want to say is, Lee, you're a beautiful fucking man. Probably shouldn't say fuck because your video is going to get demonetized.
We like the word fuck!
We do, we say it a lot.
Gotta make it!
Well, you know what? We're a horror channel, so everybody's fucking used to it. So it's going to be demonetized anyway. So sorry if we're the reason for that. But
we're that fringe group that comes, like, we're the guys that you don't want to really be friends with, but they're pretty cool.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I'm going to invite them over to my barbecue.
I want to say this about Lee McCoy's fucking videos, man, is that I don't know, I don't know if you found us first or what, but I went back and I watched some of your videos and I was like, this dude's got the shit, man. Your videos are awesome. You're an awesome dude. This guy's kind and sweet as hell. If I was into dudes, I'd date you. You seem just like a genuine, fucking nice guy.
He really does seem like a cool fucking dude that you could just have a bristy with and be like, hey man, let me ask you a question. And just be honest. Michael Jordan versus Hulk, who wins? It's like,
Space Jam, it's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. Alright.
No, man, he'd probably be like, Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior wins, hands down.
Dude, you've always been super awesome to us, and he's a super kind guy, and I'm really fucking proud to be on your channel that you invited us to do this. So, you're freaking awesome. I sing your
I'm gonna give you one of these. Ric Flair. Woo!
Lee, talking about my friend Lee.
And then you gotta do a sting with like, woo.
So,
Wolfpack, bitch.
We're supposed to talk about what we've been watching this week, and what we do on our channel is every single October, which we're gonna spread that throughout the whole year now, but every single month in October we do Halloween Horror Month. So this month what we did, we've been around for 5 or 6 years, and we decided this month we're gonna do all the Freddys, Jasons, and Michaels all over again. I'm not trying to promote our channel, I'm just saying that's, when you talk about what we've been watching, we've been knee deep in that shit.
We've been in the muck, in the Vietnam muck, bitch!
Darkness. If we talk about what we watched this week, we haven't even gotten to Halloween yet, and it's October 25th. We're a little bit
damn,
late, Charles.
Already?
It's okay. But
what about you, Charles?
I've watched some other stuff on the side when I've gotten the chance, but I've barely had any time to myself. But we have watched a fuck ton of Nightmare, so I guess that's what we're going to talk about more.
We watched, like recently, we just wrapped up doing Nightmare on Elm Street series. We did all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, including the remake. Holla back at your boy. My dudes! And then we also, before that, we did all the Friday the 13th, And look, I love Jason and I love Friday the 13th, but Jesus Christ, when you're doing them back to back to back to back to back to back, I'm backing it back. It takes a lot out of you. Yeah. And then we're going to be going into, as we're winding down the October month, going into Halloween, which will spill over into November, but it's going to be what it is.
I look forward to it.
And in the meantime, though, other than that, what have we been watching? I don't know, porn. There's been like some movies that here and there that's popped up. Besides Pornhub. I did watch, I watched the documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street, Never Sleep Again. That's a great fucking documentary.
Amazing documentary. It's like 17 years long.
Yeah, it's forever. But it's all worth it because there's dreams and there's fucking knives and there's Jesse dancing from Nightmare 2. Who doesn't love it? And so it's a really great thing to check out if you get a chance to.
The best thing about that is, like, I go back to Ted, in the movie Ted with Mark Wahlberg, when he's like, hey, I'm just watching the Cheers, like, DVD collection. You gotta come over and watch this, because people talk a ton of shit about each other. And in that, people talk mad shit about each other. Dude, we were just talking about this outside. The Nightmare 2 director talking shit about Wes Craven.
God. Dude, yeah. This dude, like, there's so much strife and hatred going on in the middle of this big gay movie that's great. Like, it really is. Like, they don't even, like, they a lot of the director of the second one and the people that worked on it didn't even know they were making a homoerotic kind of film. And then the writer comes on, he's like, it was all subtext. But he said what the thing is the director didn't realize is that everything he did made it more gay. And like everything he directed, and then the writer was saying, or Wes Craven's interviewed and was asked about part 2, and he's like, I read the script, it was inferior. And then the director of the second one comes out and he's like, I know why the first one was successful, I understand why it was successful, but I just thought it was not a good movie. I'm like, damn, shots fired! I just sank your battleship! I mean, by the way, I also want to point out that it's probably like who we are and you guys watching Drumdums and having everybody else on here, you get to us, and we're like that fucking part of the candy bar you don't want to get to. You're just like, you're like eating. It's
like
really
your
good.
weird drunk uncle.
I know. It's like it's a really good candy bar, and then you're like, you hit something in the middle. And he's like, fucking nougat. So, I didn't fucking ask for a nougat, but that's what we are.
It's like that line in Cabin Fever. It's like, son, you want to tell me why you want to go to jail for stealing a candy bar? He's like, for the nougat.
Most triumphant. But like, yeah, I know we're all over the place. That's really what our channel. I mean, we're just crazy guys that love horror movies and we curse. We don't give a fuck. So anyway, if you guys have stuck it out this long, Mike, what have you been watching?
I watched something you didn't watch, you little piece of shit,
I don't
called
give a fuck.
1922 on Netflix, the Stephen King movie. You've read all the Stephen King books. Yeah. It was a good year.
A bad year for bourbon,
yes.
What a great year for fucking.
But no, Thomas Jane is in this movie, and Thomas Jane is a glorious, handsome son of a bitch.
Yeah, Thomas Jane is a god.
Who does not get his due, man. Thomas Jane's an amazing actor. And we actually did a trailer reaction for this.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, yeah.
But I watched it, and the whole idea is, his wife is, dude, she is a...
Smoking?
No, she's a bitch.
Ah, fuck!
She is a bitch 5,000. And she's terrible. It's 1922. He's like, in 1922, I killed my wife.
Was he redneck? Is he
yeah,
redneck?
It's like
redneck.
kind of slick blade-ish. But he wants to keep this farm that he has, and his wife, she wants to be a city girl, and she wants to open up a dress shop, and he's out here in the muck just working.
Yeah, he's like, leave, bitch! Yeah. I got corns to plant!
Yeah. And then his son is right there with him. He's like, I love the farm, daddy. And then he's like, it's like, not Inception. Fuck, shit, fuck.
Bad baby.
I actually heard a little bit. Interstellar. He's driving, just crying through the cornfields. Like when you get to the gym and you forgot your headphones.
Or you're running backwards through a cornfield without pants on.
Yeah, but no, his son loves him and he doesn't want to leave either. So he talks his son into like, well, son,
yeah,
we're gonna have to kill her.
Okay.
We're gonna have to kill her.
With what?
And
we gotta get Otis?
He does this badass overlay to his character. He's like, there's a man inside of every man.
What?
That wants to kill. That wants to,
oh, I see.
Wants to kill. Wants to kill.
You were going somewhere else with that. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah. You ever see the soap suds crawl down the crack of another man's ass?
Yeah.
No, but and they do, and this is not giving anything away. It's pretty much in the trailer. But what happened? That's like the middle of the movie. You get a son and his dad who kill the mom, and it's this weird dark fucking scene, and then it's him dealing with the guilt over it, and he starts to go crazy, and there's these rats that start breaking in the house, and he can smell her all the time. Actually, man, the thing about this movie is, and I love Netflix so much for this, so many Stephen King movies are just shit, right? There's some great ones, and even the bad ones you like to watch on like a weird rainy day.
Yeah,
I was like, I just want to watch a terrible 17-hour-long fucking Stephen King movie.
You just want to feel weird.
Yeah. But in this movie, what they're doing now, and they did this with Gerald's Game 2, which you haven't seen that.
I want to see it.
That's fucked up.
Oh my god.
You gotta see that. But it looks good, it's filmed well, the cinematography's good, there's some story points that go a little... I mean, it's a novella, and that's a problem with Stephen King's movies too. Either they take them...
You say novella?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a novella.
Is that... I said novella.
Novella sounds like a fucking soap that you get.
No, novella.
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 No, novella.
I can say however I want to.
Don't say it like that, bitch! I'm gonna fucking bring your bread down.
Like the fucking lunch lady. You can't dip your fucking chicken nuggets in my goddamn mashed potatoes.
That's really...
I like chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes.
I see, that's actually good.
Anyway, but no, it just looks good. It's well filmed. It's well shot. Thomas Jane's a badass actor, and it's just it's not perfect. It's got problems with it. Like it's one of those things that reaches its crescendo like halfway through. Like, oh, this is crazy shit, and then you have nowhere else to go.
Well,
you know, so it kind of tails off. But as far as Stephen King renditions go, man, this and Gerald's Game are some of the better ones.
We're living in a great time right now because Stephen King novels are coming out and they're actually being like done right. Like for the first, I mean, we had a great It. Good time to float. We had that going on, and now we've got Gerald's. We had Gerald's Game. Now we got 1922, and there's all sorts. You know, the Dark Tower. You can say what you want. I still liked it, but it's really cool to have that. And Thomas Jane is a really unique, great actor because the thing about him, I kind of always feel like Ryan Gosling, you know, and him share a similar thing because Ryan Gosling always hates doing like big budget studio things. I mean, he's been offered major big roles and he just turns them down to do like indie stuff. He likes to do like stuff like Drive, fucking amazing movie. But that's kind of what Thomas Jane will do. Thomas Jane loves certain roles. Well, no, I mean, he did Dirty Laundry.
I think Thomas Jane almost doesn't have as many choices.
Possibly, but he's a great actor. But he did Dirty Laundry,
but
right?
He should.
He did Dirty Laundry. He funded that bitch himself. He's doing this. He's done like that one movie that you talked about in the cabin.
You want us to throw a weird superhero thing in the middle of this horror month? If you guys have never seen Thomas Jane as the Punisher in a short called Dirty Laundry on YouTube, you gotta watch that.
You know what? I would almost put like not
the best Punisher ever.
Okay, yeah, it's the best Punisher. We loved it, but the best unofficial Punisher movie ever, and this kind of fits into horror month because it is kind of crazy, weird, nasty, is Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
And that's on Netflix.
That's a legit Punisher movie. Like, that's the most legit Punisher movie I've ever seen in my life. Not that Kevin Bacon would be... Kevin Bacon should be Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger in the next... I mean, he could be Freddy. He'd be interested.
Totes my goats.
Anyway, so what else? Is there anything else?
I watched some other shit, man. I watched Mindhunter on Netflix.
Mindhunter?
This is directed by my favorite director of all time and the greatest director of all time, David Fincher.
Oh, I thought this is James Cameron because that'd be the only way to be true.
No, fuck your face.
James Cameron.
Yeah, what?
Hollywood Gold!
Yeah, he's out there writing Avatar 17 right
with
now.
his fucking gold, platinum fucking ever. Like
he's sitting in a gold chair, basically taking a dump. He's writing movies that are never going to come out.
He's only thing that matters. The Iron Throne, bitch, of the cinema. So anyway.
But no, honestly, dude, I'm only one episode deep into Mindhunter, so I can't say too much about it, but I was looking way forward to it, and in the midst of the craziness of all the shit we're doing this month, I found an hour to watch it, and it's different, Steven. It's got the dude in it, Holt McClaney, I think, from Lights Out. Badass underrated boxing TV show if you ever get a chance to watch that, but I don't know, man.
Horror movie.
It's one of those movies. It's one of those shows. It's way smarter and more like cerebral than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So it took me off guard.
You smoked a lot of weed and watched it.
Well, maybe. What I was thinking more along the lines of like, you guys ever go to Barnes and Noble? Mm-hmm. And like you go in there and like you can't afford anything.
No,
like it's like
way overpriced.
You want to buy a fucking novella,
but I will say,
and it's like $17.99.
But can I say one thing about Barnes and Nobles? You can't afford anything. But they got the Starbucks coffee going, and you smell books. It's the most amazing smell of all life.
By the way,
of all life,
my entire life, every time I've ever walked in a bookstore, I've had to poop.
No, you crop dust the fuck out of people.
When I was a kid, my parents used to take me to the Piccadilly Cafe in the mall, and we get that weird green Jello slop. And but me and my dad, my mom and my sister would always go like to shop for clothes, and then me and my dad would always go to Walden Books. Oh. And I don't know if it's the Piccadilly mixed with the book smells, But for my entire life, if I walk into a fresh bookstore, I gotta take a dump.
Dude, I know. It's crazy. We went, okay, a long time ago, Batman vs. Superman was coming out. We were early to the movie. We had to go to Barnes. We had to do something to kill time. So we went to Barnes. You cropped us as that old motherfucker that looked like a sweetheart from Mr. Belvedere. Like, literally, Mike and I were running through like fucking little kids through the aisles, and Mike was going, and then Mike actually stood there and he went, like, he farted, right? Like, it was a nasty one too. And he like, this dude came up right after that, and I was like, Mike, leave, because I ran the other fucking way because it was bad fart. And Mike walked away. This dude stood there in the same spot that Mike was just at, and Mike's lingering ghostly Slimer effect, and this guy went,
shit's earth.
He was looking at him, he's like, and you can see it in his eyes. He was trying to identify the smell. He was like,
peanut butter and jelly and Cheetos.
No, he was like, how to do it yourself. I felt badly.
But anyways, yeah, this is the ADD that we have to bring. Sorry. But when you go to Barnes & Noble, aside from having to take a crap, whenever I go to Barnes & Noble, even though I can't afford any of the books there, I always think to myself, I always feel like smart. Like, I want to go and I want to watch a really deep documentary or something.
When you go there, yeah.
After you go to Barnes & Noble, watch Mindhunter. I feel like that's the perfect thing.
Yeah, it's deep.
It's philosophical. Yeah. It's about murder and shit like that and crazy shit, but it's really deep.
I think
it's the movie. It's the show you want to start that night when you get home from. Because when I'm at Barnes & Noble, dude, I'm like, I want to go home. I'm gonna learn science.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn this.
I think you're onto something.
I'm gonna pick shit apart. I'm gonna write a book. And then you get home and you're just like, you eat too much and you have too many tacos and you just like fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, I think
watch this show.
You're telling the truth, man. I never thought of it that way. When you do go to like Barnes, it's like going to a library or something. When you go to Barnes & Noble and you leave, it's the afternoon. Like you get there at 2 o'clock. You get there at 2 o'clock. You roam around. You can't. You're looking at your fucking wall. You're like, I only got like $6. I can't fucking buy anything. Yeah. And then you like leave though.
And the bargain price books are all cookbooks.
Yeah, they all suck.
Guy Fieri.
But then you leave and it's like 3:30 because you've been there a long time. Barnes & Noble will suck your fucking time out. You don't even know you've been there that long. You're like, what happened? Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you leave.
You just end up at the magazine.
Yeah, and then you leave and you take your $6 and you go to the dollar menu at McDonald's and you get some, McDonald's, and then you go home and you're like, I'm gonna watch some good shit. Like I'm gonna watch something that is gonna make my mind think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Cops.
Mindhunter on Netflix.
Or Mindhunter.
Watch it. I think we've polluted your brains enough. I think it's time for.
Well, I might have one.
What? Oh, do you got one?
Well, give me a second.
Go. Just go.
I did watch one movie. It's not horror, so I didn't really want to bring it up.
Well, don't.
Actually, it could be considered horror. I recently got back and watched. I've only watched the first episode, maybe the second episode. Is Spawn, the animated series?
Oh yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
And it's only relevant because Todd McFarlane's been in the news somewhat, talking about how he wants to bring Spawn back and make him a boogeyman kind of monster, which the animated series was done so fucking well, but it was never given the attention that it should have got. I mean, dude, when it came out on HBO, I remember when we were kids, we were watching the shit out of that. Like, it was amazing. It was put together so well. There's so much, like, adult, I mean, it is an adult cartoon.
And afterwards, real sex would come on.
Yeah, that's why I watched it the most. But, no, I mean, I think, it would come on after it. But, it was done so well, and it always felt underrated, and nobody really talks about it today. I mean, not in the circles that I run with. They always talk about X-Men cartoon. X-Men is fucking fantastical. X-Men cartoon was on the bomb. But it still, Spawn was great, and Todd McFarlane bringing it back. And there's a thing on YouTube, and I don't know the title of it, I can't remember, but if you type in Spawn fan video or Spawn whatever, there's a video on YouTube that shows
Bukkake.
Yeah, cum coming in people's faces. No, it's a Spawn video where they actually show.
Lee.
Huh?
I said, I'm sorry, Lee. I'm sorry.
And
I'm sorry. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Leave her alone! But there's a video on YouTube where if you type in Spawn fan video or Spawn dark video or whatever, you'll see this little girl goes to a grocery store and you don't see Spawn full on. You see Spawn in the shadows and he kills these guys, but he's like demonic and he's like a boogeyman, he's a monster. And that's the closest representation of I think what they were going for in the animated series and what McFarlane's going to come out with later on is because Spawn was never supposed to be like a Batman or a Superman flying around. He said, I think that McFarlane said back in the 90s when Spawn came out that Spawn is what Batman would be if they gave him his balls back. I don't appreciate that because I do like Batman, but I kind of get where he's going.
Batman's got balls.
Yeah, but if you were like, he's got balls of steel. Balls of steel. But at the same time, I'm like, I get where he's going because they're saying that there's a comic code and he can't go as far as he wants to go. So I think what he was saying is like, this is Batman without chains.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's what I watched, and that's what you watched. We had a good time. You're right. We've literally made their fucking brains a urinal cake.
We're basically a skid mark on your channel now, forever lasting.
Sorry, Drumdums.
But dude, Lee, I think you're an awesome dude, man. Everything about you feels genuine. You seem like a cool guy. What you're doing here, your editing is fantastic. Everything you do is fantastic. I'm honored to shit.
Join that Facebook page. The Facebook.
Let's do that. Yeah, the Killer Flicks, man.
Killer Flicks, man.
Join that shit. That's
great
awesome.
stuff too.
So honored as shit, man. Happy to be your friend. Happy to be in this community. We love your fucking faces, and if you guys are new to this channel, as we always say, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you.
Hey Lee, do you wanna come over for a beer?
Yeah, I'll make chicken wings.
Oh, chicken wings. We can put like fucking hot spices on it.
Thank you. We watched the movie. Thank you, Mike and Jay. Now let's talk about what I watched. First off, I watched this new Stephen King movie. Stephen King has just been on a mad tear lately this year. Gerald's Game. Brand new to Netflix, completely surprised me, and it's just one of those isolated environment type movies where this couple, they go to this getaway house, and they get stuck in a really awkward position, you know, a sexual type of situation. And this movie really goes into some really dark territories, and it's a survival movie, and that's all I'm gonna say. I did a full review on this one. You can watch it, but I will say definitely check out Gerald's Game. Excellent. Next up, I watched a complete shit fest. I watched Flatliners. This is one of the worst remakes I think I've seen, at least in the last decade. It's bad. It's really bad. And I think to sum it all up, all the soul from the original Flatliners, all the charm is gone from this movie. You don't give a crap about any of the characters whatsoever. It's not inventive at all. And if you remember, like the dreamscapes that the original cast members went through in the first movie and how interesting they were, especially with Kiefer Sutherland, none of that is in here. It's stupid. It makes no sense. So skip this one. Skip it. It's horrible. Next up, I watched Cult of Chucky. This is the one I've been waiting to watch all year. A lot of mixed reviews on this one. Matter of fact, my good buddy Cody Leach did not like this movie. And I thought for sure that I wasn't going to like it, given that I saw a lot of negative reviews for it, and I ended up loving the hell out of it. It did have some problems, but I think at the core of it, the character Chucky was, on point. I had a blast. I was laughing my ass off. Had some great bloody kills. Had a lot of twists in there. And I kind of like the mental ward environment. I think it all worked for me. So I'll definitely be watching more Cult of Chucky. Stay tuned for my Ranking the Child's Play series coming real soon too. Next up, I watched an old classic, The Craft. You know, it's hard to find really good movies based on witchcraft, and it's really hard to find one that is not just horror, but it's also kind of dipped in comedy a bit. And The Craft is kind of like that. Not really comedy, but it's just youthful. I think that's the best word for it. And you know, you got Neve Campbell. I believe she did this before she did Scream. But Perusa Balk is great in this. I mean, she really shines. And after this movie, I thought for sure that her career would just take off. But it really didn't. So, yeah, but The Craft it's a classic. I'm sure most of you have seen it. I had a blast with that one. Next up, I watched The Babysitter. This movie surprised the hell out of me. I love horror comedies, and this one is when horror comedies are at the best. It was so fun. Loved the main character B and Cole, but especially B. Samara Weaving, you've got a career ahead of you. She really reminds me of a cross between Margot Robbie and Denise Richards, don't you think? But this one is bloody as hell. Had a blast with it. It's not too often that you see a horror comedy that revolves around like satanic cults and demon possession. You know, that's pretty heavy stuff, and they really pull it off in this one. And then my last movie that I watched for this Halloween, I've already talked about the John Carpenter's original Halloween. I got that one out of the way. But I watched Never Hike Alone, a fan film that is based on Friday the 13th. It's a Friday the 13th movie made by fans, and it's excellent. It's probably the best fan film I've ever seen, and it's better than most Friday the 13th movies. Loved the hell out of this movie. It takes the character Jason, makes him scary again, and it puts it in a survival type environment. You just got one character, and he is fighting for his life against the ultimate weapon, Jason, throughout most of the movie. It's under an hour long. It's free to watch right here on YouTube. So definitely check it out if you haven't. That one was excellent. That's it, guys. That is 31 days of October 2017. I can't believe we got 3 years in the can now, worth of 31 days. And looking forward to 2018 already. And next year I won't be in this situation. Hopefully, you know, I'll be all settled in. I can prepare more, but I think, you know, all things considered, we still got through this pretty well. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day, every day. Thank you so much to all my guests. I've already said that, but I want to foot stomp it, say it again. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And please subscribe to all my guests throughout this month. I really, if you don't subscribe to me, just please subscribe to them. They're that awesome. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and keep it horror.